I don't know what's going on. Why is this not? Some. Okay. I think we're good now. Holy crap. That was a crapshoot. All right. we should be good now. Unfortunately, everybody can hear me, so enjoy a few seconds of music and not my voice.
Welcome to the premiere episode of Dying Out Loud. We're happy to be coming to you tonight. Today is Tuesday, May 16, 2023. Almost got that wrong. And we're very excited about this new show. We've been planning it for a couple of months now, hosted on the line, obviously. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things having to do with dying and living, which pretty much covers everything. If you know who I am, and I'll just introduce myself for those three people who don't, because I'm a pretty big deal, and everyone knows me. But no, I'm Dave Warnock, and I've been dying out loud now for about 4 years. The reason I say that is about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years, I was diagnosed with a terminal disease, ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It took me about 3 years to learn how to say that. A lot of people know of it as Lou Gehrig's disease. It's a motor neuron disease that affects my muscles. Actually, it affects the nerves, and the nerves quit telling the muscles what to do, and the muscles get lazy and they quit working, and therefore they atrophy. And my hands and arms are very much gone. My legs are going. My neck is getting weak. If you've seen me on shows in the last couple of years, you'll notice I'm leaning back more now because I have to rest my head because my neck is getting weaker. And so that's the reality of living with ALS. But dying out loud is what I've been talking about. And you know, I've seen some people in the chats the last few weeks as we've been promoting this on the line, and I don't want to talk about death every week. And how can we talk about dying every week? We're not going to talk about dying and death. That's morbid. But we will be talking about the subjects that pertain to that, the subjects that pertain to what we find meaning in and purpose in this one life we know we have. And so therefore we'll be talking about how to live our best life, how to find the purpose and meaning in our life once you come to terms with your mortality, and how you can get about living the life you want to live on your terms. And we're talking about living on your terms, dying on your terms, which includes death with dignity and physician-assisted dying sometimes. Those are some issues that are very important to me as someone who's facing a very unpleasant and lengthy dying process. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. We want to hear from you. Our number to reach us is 720-619-2288. Call us. If any of those things that I just mentioned are of interest to you, we have lines open tonight. We want to hear from you. We've got a lot to talk about, and we want to talk with you about it. If you have questions or arguments about what happens after we die, or whether someone should assist me in dying if I'm terminally ill. Those kind of questions can be controversial. How do you find purpose and meaning in life as an atheist, as a non-Christian, when God's supposed to give you the purpose that we're supposed to have? So call us tonight. Let us know if you want to reach us on the web. That link is in the description. And that's kind of what we want to intro. I want to bring in my special guest host tonight. Eve was framed. You guys know her. Hey, Eve.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you on our first show. We've known each other quite a while, and we've been on shows together. We've hung out in person a good bit. I wanted to ask you before we get to call. Well, we don't, since we get some calls, I wanted to ask you. You've heard me talk about this a lot on shows, in
Yeah.
person, at conferences and stuff. And you're a young person, and young people don't talk about death a lot. So how do you resonate with this subject, and what do you think about when, like, I'm talking about my impending death and dying out loud and all these things you've heard me talk about? How does that resonate with someone who's young, with so much of life stretched out before you?
Yeah. That's a good question. And it's a good point that people my age don't talk about death, I think, as much as they should. I'm in my 30s now, so now it's starting to come up, and you start losing people too, so you have to talk about it. But death was actually a big part of me leaving the faith. I had to start facing my fear of death, and I realized a big thing that was holding me on to believing was that I wanted there to be something else. And so I had to face the idea that there's probably nothing, and I had to face that I don't know if I will be here tomorrow. We can't control what happens, and I've lost people suddenly to where I thought I would have them, and then the next day they're gone. And hearing you talk about this has been a really big part of my healing journey, because you don't talk about it just in a straightforward matter of fact way, which is helpful, and that's kind of where my logical brain wants to go and not make it emotional. You talk about it in a holistic, where you face the emotions and the facts, and that's just been really healing, because death is a lot of things. It's sad, and it's also just part of life, and it's also now something I've come to love, because death is what has increased the value of the people in my life and my own life. So, your message and the way you talk about death has been healing, and it has taken away a lot of fear for me.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you for that. I'm wondering also, I know you come from an evangelical Christian background. You're very active on TikTok and Instagram and engaging with Christians. They get on you pretty for you. How many times you've been threatened with hell? Do you have any idea? Have you counted?
Today, probably 30 times.
Yeah, just today.
It's really bad. Yeah, I just was making videos about it today. And last night I had somebody tell me that not only do they hope I go to hell, but they hope that I take more people with me so that I get more time added to my time in hell, which I don't know how you add time to eternity, but
so that
yes,
increases
exactly.
your life eternity sentence to, what would that be? They're gonna
right.
Satan's gonna add 10 more years to your. I don't understand that.
Forever in a few days.
When you were an evangelical like me, how did you view, what was you mentioned it was a part of your journey out, but was there a fear of the afterlife, a fear of hell? Or how did you view death as a Christian? Did you, like me, think it was just a pause and then you're going to be in the afterlife?
So I thought that I would either go to heaven or hell. I thought I would die and then immediately wake up in one of those places.
Yeah,
and I couldn't figure out which I was more terrified of, hell or being in a worship service for the rest of eternity. I could not wrap my head around that. And the idea of,
you don't want to sing Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna for 50 millennia.
I was just so scared of eternity in general. That idea was very scary to me. Did you what was your thought about heaven and hell? And
I didn't. Our brand of Christianity, if you will, wasn't much focused. I never did the fire and brimstone, hell is awaiting you, the angry God kind of thing. It was more about how God wanted to help us live this life the best way we could. So when I deconstructed, there wasn't much of a fear of hell or a residue of that I had to let go of. It was pretty easy to just move on from any thought of there being an afterlife, because on its surface, it makes no sense that there's some place in some fifth dimension that people go and they're in a body, but they're not, and they have a soul, but none of that makes any sense, much less the concept of eternity, much less a God who would be punitive and torturous for an eternity. That none of that stuff registers with me. So it really wasn't a part of my Christian makeup. It was pretty easy for that to fall by the wayside. But I know a lot of people for whom it isn't, and for whom, even though in their mind they understand logically that hell is not a thing, they still have, wake up in night sweats and have a phobia about it. I talked with a guy who was a Catholic on a show just the other day, and he called in and he admitted the only reason he's a Christian is because he's worried about hell. And my God, what a terrible, horrible concept and way to live. So it's a real thing for a lot of people, as bizarre as it is. But yeah. We do have a call I want to get to. Before I do, I want to remind folks that we will be reading the super chats of $10 or more at the end of the show. Even I will take turns reading those, whatever your message is. So feel free to send us a message that way. Again, we'd love to hear from you. The phone number is 720, it's on the line, 720-619-2288. So let's jump into a call or two. What do you say, Eve?
I'm excited.
Let's take Zed, him from Australia, an atheist. Father is dying. He doesn't have a good relationship with him and wants to talk about what he should do. Is he being an awful person by not seeing him? Let's take the call from Zed. Hello, Zed. Hello. You're on with Eve and Dave. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you both going?
Oh, I love your accent. Good to hear from you.
Doing well.
Excellent. So basically, I don't believe my father treated my family well when we were younger, and it's left us with some hang-ups. He's getting towards the end of life now, and we've sort of been hanging out for a while, but I'm finding that these issues from the past are still affecting me, and he's wanting to be, father-son chummy in his last years, and I'm finding it quite hard, and in a way, a lot of me doesn't care, and I'm just wondering, do I need to be mature and help him out, or are my feelings valid, etc.?
Yeah. That's a tough one. Eve, what are your thoughts? I'll just let you go first with that.
I have some thunder happening in the background, just a heads up. Yeah, that's really tough. I mean, I don't like giving people personal advice on things like that where I feel that it would really help to have a therapist involved. But it does sound to me that would probably be my advice, is to maybe seek out somebody professional to help you through this. I've had to go through my own journey with my dad. He's not dying or anything, but I've had to actually grieve that relationship in a way, even though we do have relationship. And I think having a professional to walk me through some of that helped me decide if I wanted contact, what kind of boundaries. And somebody that can really dig deep with you is going to help you find a solution that you're not going to regret, and that's also not going to cross your boundaries and all that, better than I can without knowing the full spectrum of your whole story.
Mm-hmm. That's
I guess I have. Sorry, you go.
Go ahead. No, go. You go.
Okay. Well, I guess I have been down that route, and I feel like I've learned a lot and spoken about it a lot. But that's one of the things why it's a bit harder, because I'm pushing 50 and I've done a lot of that stuff. So I guess it's almost like it doesn't go away entirely, and I'm getting resentful by that. And like I said, I don't know if there's much more I can do, whether it just suck it up and be mature and be the son he wants in his last years. But that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know if I can do any more down the professional route at the moment. It's more like a decision I need to make. And, I just don't know if I just need to suck it up and go ahead.
Well, let me ask you let me get some clarity on a couple of things, Zed. You say you are listed as an atheist. Is your father an atheist or a believer of some kind?
No, he's a believer, a Christian believer.
Okay. Has that been a difficult path to navigate in your relationship with him?
For sure. I basically told him I was an atheist on Christmas Eve when I was 15, and it didn't go down very well.
I see. So it's been contentious since then, perhaps, huh?
Correct.
And when you say without getting into specifics and details, I don't want to pry, but you indicated that your life with him has been difficult and he didn't treat you well, and now wants to I'm just kind of reading between the lines here, kind of wants to sweep
Yes.
all of that under the rug and not address it and want to be chummy, and you're having a hard time just allowing that or accepting that. Is that pretty correct?
Yes, that's close. Unfortunately, because alcohol was involved, he doesn't remember a lot of it, and I've tried to broach it, and he just doesn't remember. So my sister and I are thinking, well, is there any point? So I guess that's another issue. It's like he gets angry and defensive and says, it didn't happen. So, I mean, yeah, there's almost no point going further down that road. And, yeah, so I'm a bit stuck, but it has been contentious to Christianity. He still says things like now when he's dead, he'll come and wiggle my toes and the like, just to show he's there. And I say, well, that's not going to happen, Dad. Don't waste your time. And if you can do that, why wouldn't you want to do something else than come back and wiggle my toes? So we're totally different on that page.
Like he's going to haunt you after he's dead. Yeah. Okay.
That's what it would be for me. Yes.
Yeah, this is what it sounds like. Who wants that? Oh my God, Dad, you're tickling my toes again. That's great. Let me ask you, when you try to be with him, as you said, and be chummy and just hang out with him like he wants, how does that affect you? Is that causing some trouble for you, angst and trauma? Is it having a negative effect on you?
Well, I guess I don't like a big part of his personality. And it does rub when I'm around him. Obviously, it's like sandpaper between personalities. But I even feel when I was younger, and obviously this is subjective, that I had to be mature as a kid to get through stuff. And now I feel like in an adult, I have to be mature to help him get through stuff. Where I sort of, I'm done. I don't want to. I haven't got the mental energy for it. But I feel like if I do that, I'm just going to come off as a prick.
Well, I happen to think, I mean, here I'm like Eve, I hesitate to give personal advice because I'm not a therapist or trained in any way in anything. I'm dumb as a rock. But I've got a lot of experience. And I had to do something with my own father who caused a lot of trauma in my life and was very emotionally and verbally abusive. And I had to basically cut off contact with him late in life. And he was trying to send me letters and call me. And every time he did, it caused trauma and angst and anxiety and distress. And I found that it didn't, at the end of the day, it didn't add anything to either one of us. Neither one of us were getting anything out of it. Well, I guess he would have gotten something out of it if I would have allowed it, in that he would have been able to control me. But it was causing a lot of damage to me. And my therapist at the time, his advice was to stop entertaining that and don't even open the letters he sends you. And so I quit opening them and quit responding to them, and then he quit sending them. And then a few years later, when he died, I got word that he died from my brother, and it had no effect on me whatsoever. And now, does that make me a bad person? Does that make me uncaring and unloving? No, it for me it doesn't. It means that I drew boundaries that were healthy for me, and we don't choose who we're born into, what family we're born into, and what that looks like. We have nothing to do with that. And I take issue with people who say things like, well, you have to do such and such. They're family after all. Well, no, you don't. There's no rule that says that. And if it causes you, what's that?
I totally agree.
Yeah. So I'm an advocate for doing what is healthy for yourself. And obviously there's lines that we can draw. I mean, we don't want to be a prick. I'm not going to see anybody I don't like. I'm just not going to. I mean, you can't be a dick about it. But I do think that there are times and places, and this sounds like it may be one, where you just need to draw some lines and draw some boundaries and do what's emotionally healthy for yourself, because at the end of the day, he's going to be gone and you're going to be left with the residue he left you. And if it caused a lot of damage, then you're the one that has to pick up the pieces, not him.
Yeah, that's right. He'll be nothing. So
Yeah.
Well, and I think you've said it yourself. You said it's a decision you just have to make what you're doing. And it sounds like you probably have a pretty good idea of what is the healthiest thing for you, and you shouldn't feel shame in whatever decision you end up making. There's not a right or wrong answer to this. I don't think it's a black and white situation, and I don't think there's like a moral choice or an immoral choice. So I think that you should just feel comfortable to make the choice for yourself and feel empowered to do that.
That's
that
well
makes
put.
a lot of sense. Yeah. You very much so. And you too, Dave. There are a lot of similarities between your situation and mine, although still a bit different. But that makes a lot of sense. I'll do what's right for me, and and just sum it all up and try and be rational and just make the decision and stick with it.
And as Eve said, don't let guilt creep in. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no moral or immoral position. Just do what you feel is best, and it'll let it fall. It's a tough thing. It's these relationships. I'm not going to pretend this is easy. These are complex issues, and I'm just hoping you can navigate it in the best way possible and keep your peace of mind and keep your mental health, because that's really what's more important here.
That is true. That's actually really good advice. I'll make them cornerstones in my decision and go from there. Thanks so much. It's made it a lot clearer, and I'll do what I think's the best.
Thanks
Zed.
for calling, Zed. You were our first caller on Dying Out Loud, the show. Thank
Yay.
you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All the best.
Okay, Zed. Take care.
Bye.
All right. What a good chap, as they say. I speak Australian also.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, we won't go there. So listen, before we got some other calls lining up, but I want to let everyone be aware of the Patreon for The Line. This is an awesome channel. I want everyone to support it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Subscribe and like all the things. I mean, we're a brand new show, but The Line has been on a while, and they do amazing work. The Patreon is patreon.com/calltheline. And here are some amazing shows coming up this week. I want to make you aware of it this week and over into next week. Let me say, no, I don't want that. Tomorrow night, there's a little show with he's not very well known, but he's making a name for himself, Matt Dillahunty, and The Hang Up. I think he's an up and comer, and I want to give him, I want to build his audience for him. So you guys come on tomorrow night and hang out with Matt and Skeptics and Scoundrels. That's tomorrow night, The Hang Up at 7 p.m. And then Thursday is the Transatlantic call-in show with Arden and Luxander. And then Sunday, you've got we love Arden. You've got the Sunday show with Jimmy and Matt, a couple of knuckleheads. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. I'll be the first to say that on the Dying Out Loud show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then Monday, we've got Skeptalk with Forrest Valkai and Erica Gibbon. Man, what a lineup. Wow.
Nice.
Erica, by the way, is Gutsick Gibbon. That's my
Gutsick
shorthand. Gibbon. Yeah, I should have put
I knew
in.
that, but I should have said Gutsick Gibbon. But
I should have written it on your notes. But also this Sunday, you and I are doing the Patreon Zoom at 7 Central Time, 8 Eastern.
Yeah. Join us for that, folks.
Cool.
But damn, what an all-star lineup! I feel lucky to be a part of that. That's awesome. Well, let's jump into calls.
Great.
Because that's what we do here. We got Sam, he, him in Massachusetts. Sorry about my voice, folks. I want to let you know that I sipped water to the side here. If you're not aware of my shtick here, the ALS makes my voice raspy as I talk, as I go along the night. So bear with me on that. But we've got Sam, he, him, Massachusetts, agnostic theist. Interesting. Is trying to leave his faith behind, evangelical Christian, would like advice on how to cope with this and what is after death. Let's talk to Sam. Here we go. Hey, Sam. Hello, Sam. You with us?
Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
There
Hi,
he is.
Dave. Hi, Eve. How are you?
Oh. Hi.
Hey, Sam. Good to hear from you. I read your summary there. You're an agnostic theist and trying to leave your faith behind. Tell us what's going on.
Yes, sir. First of all, big fan. I appreciate for everything that you've done and helped me through. So I appreciate that. And Eve, I hope you're having a good night as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, my first time here. My bad. But
You're doing great.
so I I grew up as a evangelical Christian in a very evangelical household, very strict, and quite frankly, I'm lying to my family at this point. And the only thing that's holding me back, I see the evidence, I see everything. The only thing that's holding me back is I don't know what's next, and it bothers me. So, and the acceptance of that is the real issue. And I feel like I'm not sure where to go. So I'm not sure if you have any tools or tips or anything that I can go from there. But I'm not sure if I'm even explaining myself well. I'm sorry.
I think so, Eve. You work in this space daily with thousands of people who are in this very same spot. What do you tell them?
Yeah. I definitely was in that spot at one point where I really felt like I didn't believe, but it was hard to accept that there could be nothing. I think I had already figured out there probably isn't anything, but I wanted to believe that there was, even though I wasn't anymore. And I started realizing there's a lot of things that I don't know and have never known. And I was okay with those things. So I just needed to take on the same attitude toward death. It's a much more personal topic, obviously, because there's a lot of fear behind it when you've had an answer your whole life and now suddenly you don't. But really grieving my past beliefs was a big part of that. I talked about on the other call, getting a therapist and helping me learn how to grieve something properly.
Yep.
And being okay with not knowing. It's okay for you to say, like, maybe there is something, maybe there isn't, I don't know. That would be my advice, is just to start getting really good at sitting in uncomfortable feelings. Christianity a lot of times provided comfort and safety when things got uncomfortable, and that's what kept us in it. It also provided the things that made us uncomfortable as well, but it immediately offered the cure and the lie that made us feel better. So I think just embracing those uncomfortable feelings, it sounds awful, but it's really freeing once you do that. It is so freeing once you get to the point that you say, I don't know, and I'm okay with it, because it makes this moment that much more important, because I don't know what's after this moment.
I completely get where you're coming from. If I could propose one thing that, sorry, I'm shaking a little. If I could propose one idea.
Please.
My only issue is I reject all of the earthly gods that have been proposed. And for some reason in my brain, I think that there could be, I don't know, something beyond there, because isn't the universe infinite? There could be infinite possibilities. I mean, maybe, right? I mean, I have a hard time rejecting that.
You don't have to reject something, but are you going to live your life as though you're certain that there is something when you can't know for sure? I think that's where I was able to start out, is I don't know what there is, but I'm going to live as though there's nothing, because that makes more sense and that brings more value to the present. And then if there is something, I'll be pleasantly surprised or not. But either way, I have no way to know that right now.
And that's exactly where I'm at right now. It's I've accepted that there's most likely nothing, but there's that infinite universe possibility that always drives me crazy. I don't really know what, but
I think you're in a really great place, and I would encourage you. It would take so long if we started talking about infinite universes and multiverses and all that, but to just start to continue on that curiosity, keep reading about those things, keep listening to people talk about that, look up all different sides of the argument, look up everything. I went through a couple of years of reading and learning about NDEs and near-death experiences, and I think it's okay to not have it fully figured out. It sounds like you've already deconstructed so much and accepted so many difficult things while not having a family to be there for you. And that is so brave and amazing. And I think that you're on track, and just keep being curious and be okay with being in between.
So is it more of a learning and growing and accepting type path of you would recommend, that kind of thing? I mean, yeah.
If that's what's working for you, yeah. Yeah. I think we're so used to things like there being a black and white answer, and like, this is how you do it, and this is how you follow. And that's the thing of being on the outside of religion, is now there isn't a clear-cut path. There isn't a way you have to do things. You get to take your time if you want, or it can be an overnight thing. It doesn't, that's the beauty in it. There's no right or wrong here. And I think just reminding yourself of that is going to be the most helpful thing.
And you don't have to answer to anyone but yourself. That's the beauty of it too. You don't owe anyone an explanation. If someone were to even ask you, even your parents or whoever, I think you said you're lying to them or whoever, you don't owe anyone an explanation for what you believe or why. And if someone were to ask you, you can say, you know what, I don't know right now. I'm kind of seeking some things out and looking at, I'm asking some questions. And if they're not satisfied with that, too bad. That's their problem, not yours. But agnosticism is the place, honestly, where we all are. None of us really know. And I'm an agnostic atheist because I don't see enough evidence to believe in a God. Right now, you still maintain a theist position because you're concerned about what comes after death. And it's okay. As Eve said, you're figuring stuff out. Let me ask you this. How long have you been in the process of what I would call deconstructing from that evangelical faith?
I've been fighting myself for about 6 years now. Okay.
Well, you're giving it some good time. That's good. I mean, you're not doing anything hastily. As far as what Eve already mentioned about what we don't know, that's I'm an atheist with a terminal disease, so I'm facing the end sooner than most everybody around me, most likely. And I don't know, and I'm okay with not knowing. What I do know is we have this life. I do know that I'm alive now, and I'm only responsible for what I'm doing now in this life. And what I do believe is that the more energy we give to what's beyond this life, the less we can enjoy this life. If I'm worried and anxious about what comes next, then it's going to affect negatively, I think, the fullness of the life that I do have. And that's to your detriment if you do that, because this is what we have that we know of. What comes next, I have no idea, nor do I have any control over it. I only have control over what I'm doing right now. And I would encourage you, Sam, to just try to focus on the moments that are contained within the days that you have in front of you. And really, we have today. I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. Most likely I will, because I'm pretty healthy, except for this one ALS nonsense. Other than that, I'm really healthy. So most of us are going to wake up tomorrow, because not that many of us die in our sleep without warning. So focus on this day and the things you have planned for the coming week and weekend and month and year, and try to not give too much weight. And I know that's what evangelicalism does to us. It has all this talk of heaven and afterlife and eternity and hell, and it clogs the arteries of the enjoyment of this one life. And I find it very disturbing that it does that to us. Because once I let all that faith stuff go, I was able to focus on the moments. And that's where the life is. What happens next is, frankly, I don't care, honestly. What do you think, Sam?
I have a lot to think about. Sorry. It's been really helpful. I really appreciate it. I will say my last thing before I hold you guys up for too long. The thing that broke the camel's back for me, at least at the start, was that God said that everything is predetermined for us. If that's the case, then what's the point, right? That was me at like probably 10 years old. So I have a lot to work through. I really appreciate all of your comments. Damn. Got a lot of soul searching to do, if that's even a thing. So
you're doing great.
It is. Soul searching is just a term that means we're introspecting and examining what we think and believe, and that's very valid. So I really, really encourage you to keep doing that. I appreciate you doing that, and call back and talk to us in a few weeks or months and tell us how your soul searching is going. We want to keep up with you and see how you're doing.
I definitely will. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it. It means a lot.
You bet.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks for calling, brother.
Thanks.
Man, he's right where we were, isn't he, Eve?
Yeah, I feel for him so much.
I do too. I can feel the pain and the questions just pounding in his head, and he's figuring it out, and he's going to be okay. He's taking his time and he's figuring it out, and I hope he does call back, in a couple of months and let us know how he's doing. Yeah, good guy, good call.
Yeah, that was good.
Let's go to Nick in California. They. Nick, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing okay.
You're on with Dave and Eve. It says you got diagnosed with MS about 10 years ago. Tell us what's going on.
Well, when I got diagnosed, it made me think about a lot of things. Will I be able to support myself in the future? All kinds of things. Will I be able to keep working? Because I live by myself, and I got to work in order to pay my bills. But one of the things that I did was I talked to a friend of mine, and I said, if it gets to the point where this is too much, could you help me out? And he said that he would, which I was very grateful for. And because that allows me not to be concerned about what am I going to do? Am I going to be able to get care? If this is all too painful, am I going to have to stay like that? Because it's really difficult once it gets to a point for you to have autonomy anymore. And
right.
That was one of the things that was concerning me. So being able to talk with him and have some plans set up really, I like you use that word, it gave me some freedom. I was able to release my mind from all that worry and rumination and just live,
Good.
So I feel really good about that, but I don't tell anybody that I have this plan in place. I've told 2 people, because mostly when people know that you have this kinds of plans, they get really upset and argue. So I've kept it to a minimum, just the one person and my backup option, and that's all I've told.
Well, that's smart, because you don't want to bring their arguments into the conversation about your life. It is your life, and you should get to control what you do with it and how you do it. So kudos to you for taking those steps. That's really good. We've started a nonprofit just in the last few months called I Am Dying Out Loud. It's an organization. Encourage anyone that's interested in it, go to the website, iamdyingoutloud.org. In that, part of that organization's mission statement is helping people to advocate for their healthcare choices and their emotional healthcare choices in terms of how they live their lives, what happens to them when they go into a hospital or when they're nearing end of life situations, to restrict and push back against unwanted religious overreach, primarily from medical professionals. But we're drafting documents that people like you could have, you could show your family or friends or anybody, where you could have in writing what you wish for your own life at the end of it, or if you go into a hospital for medical situations, to where it's basically an advance directive. It not only includes the medical care you wish to receive or don't wish to receive, life-altering decisions if you want to be put on machines and things like that, but it also includes your emotional or spiritual health care in terms of what kind of chaplains you would want, or prayer, no prayer, that kind of stuff, so that people aren't taking advantage of you in a vulnerable situation and proselytizing. We've heard too many horror stories of that happening in hospital and death situations. So I encourage you to follow along with our website, with our organization, if any of that can help you, even in crafting language to talk to people about stuff. But I think it's helpful to have a document to show somebody. That means you've thought it out, and it helps you avoid the contentious conversations that can erupt around these kinds of things. I don't know. Would that be helpful to you? You think, Nick?
It would be helpful to look through it. Right now, I have a DNR, and I also have advance directives and power of attorneys for the people that I indicated that I wanted to name, because I do have a sibling that I do not want to have any sort of say-so when this happens. So
right.
I think looking at the website that you have would make it so that I can check it against the paperwork I have to make sure that all my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed.
Yeah, that's smart. And reach out to us on the website. There's send us an email, and we'll get in touch with you personally. And I'd like to see. We're in the process of writing the advanced directives right now, but it'd be great to look at what you've got and help align it with what we're doing. And you might even help us with our language. So, like I said, we're in advanced stages of this. So.
Oh, that sounds great. Thanks a lot.
And Eve, what do you think? Your thoughts on Nick's situation with his MS and people around him?
I think it's great that you are taking control of everything that you can, and more power to you. And I hope that you find more and more people that accept the full range of your life and how it's going to play out.
Yeah,
that's my hope as well.
Well, it's really smart of you and brave to be thinking ahead like this. It's kind of, a lot of people don't like to deal with the thoughts of that. I mean, even with MS, or I've talked to a lot of people with ALS, and they still don't. They still want to kind of almost live in denial. But you've not done that, and so it's very, very strong of you to take control of things and put things in place that you're going to need. You good?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
I will listen back to this call and get the information on the website that you were talking about. So thank you very much.
Sounds great. Thanks for calling, Nick. Appreciate you, man. Hang in there. Call back sometime in the future and let us know how you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, buddy.
Website's in the description also.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy is, as Jimmy said, the website's in the description, iamdyingoutloud.org. Check us out, folks. We're really excited about what's happening there. Let's take Emmanuel, he, him, his, Texas, is a theist responding to Dave Warnock that God of the Bible was scary/bad. Ooh.
Well, I'm excited for this.
Emmanuel, how are you doing? You're on with Dave and Eve. What can we do for you tonight?
How are you guys? I would like to apologize for the audience. First of all, I was watching you on one of the shows on AXP, and you were saying that the God of Scripture was a very immoral monster. And as I was listening to you, I think the guy was calling in from Canada, and I think we could say that the God of the Bible is like good for specific people. That's how I relate. So if I just imagine there's a guy and he just likes he likes doing good things to like poor people, let's say, he does a lot of like compassionate things towards other people. Let's say the same guy has he tortures people in the basement, right? So the people that have only received positive things from him, they could say that he is good, even though he is, torturing other people. That's how I see the God of Scripture.
And you think that God, if he's good for some and mean to others, is overall a good God?
I think if he is like extending mercy to a certain chosen people, I think he is good, even though he is like creating a certain people so that for them to go to hell.
What about everybody else?
Like it's for everybody else, it's like I like to focus on the positive side instead of the negative.
What if
side.
You're one of the guys that he doesn't like?
I'm a believer, so I don't think that he doesn't like me. So I don't believe in free will. So I think that God has like softened my heart so that I can receive Christ. But God,
so you're one of the elect.
Someone's heart. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're one of the elect, then, is what you're saying.
I believe that all elect.
Well, you're saying that he's good to those who are the elect, but he can be mean or torture those who aren't the elect. Is that what you're saying? And you happen to be one of the elect? Did I get that right?
All believers are the elect, not.
Okay.
Yeah. I do believe that God has elected me, but those who have not been elected by God, God hardens their hearts so that for them not to receive the gospel in the first place.
So you don't even think it's their choice.
I like to see.
So God decides who believes and who doesn't, and then he only favors those that he chose to believe in him? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
So then why did he even create the ones that he already decided aren't going to believe and are going to have horrific lives? Is he just playing Ant Farm and he wants to torture some people?
I think that's the case because if God doesn't want them to be in destruction, why would they create them in the first place? So
why
God
would
gives glory
a good
out
God
of,
do that? Why would a good God? That'd be like me telling my parents I want a litter of puppies, but I'm really only going to like maybe 3 or 4 of them, and 2 or 3 of them I'm just going to torture and kill because I just kind of want to. Why would you call me a good person if I did that? Because you're calling the God that does that a good God.
I don't see God being as like absolute goodness. I think God's goodness is kind of like specific to a certain people. and
Yeah,
that
So then why
goodness
are
is
you
kind of like limited.
Yeah,
why are you even
you've said
talking
that.
to us? If you think that God chooses certain people and chooses others to not favor, and we don't have a choice in this, and it is what it is, then why are you even talking to us?
So I don't know who is elect or not. So in the end, you might end up in being a Christian. So I don't really know what will happen in the future. You know, it's like I don't even know. That's why I like to make arguments on different atheist shows, because I don't know who is elect. I believe Matt is
And
one of the
and you
elect,
might
but
you might
he
stop
have-
believing.
You think Matt is one of the elect?
So-
Matt Dillahunty? You think he's going to turn from his
Absolutely,
sins
because
and go ahead?
I just like, because he have a Baptist background,
Yeah.
which means that he a high. I think he knows a lot of like scriptures and stuff. So I
Yeah.
don't think that he started as a Christian and he will end up as an atheist. It's more likely that he will end up being a Christian.
He's going to turn toward the end. So what about me? I was a Christian and a pastor for over 35 years. I don't know if you know that. And
I was a worship leader.
Yeah, he was a worship leader, leading people into the presence of God. I was a pastor teaching them the Bible. And then about 12 years ago, I came to the conclusion I was wrong about that. And I now identify as an atheist. And I also have a terminal disease that's probably going to kill me in the next 2 to 3 years. And I don't anticipate returning to this God that I once believed in, because I don't see any evidence that he's real. And people like you who defend his heinous nature make me want to believe in him even less. So you're not turning me toward God. You're turning me even further away from him, Emmanuel. But if I die as an atheist in a couple of 3 years, what do you think is going to happen to me?
Well, if you are I don't believe that you could lose your salvation. So,
So I'm still
I
elect.
believe
Okay.
eternal security. So if you were once saved, you're going to be like preserved and stuff, even though you are like turning away from God of some sort. But like, let's say that, I stopped, I don't believe that you have a choice in your life as you think you have. So I don't think that, even me putting an obstacle so that you don't receive God has any bearing effect on your life.
But I don't want to go to heaven. It sounds
that's why.
awful. I don't want to go to heaven. So I don't want, is God going to drag me to heaven kicking and screaming? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I am saying is he could change your mind and
He'll
heart
make you want
within a
to.
couple of seconds.
Can I ask a question? So there could be somebody, according to your belief, that lives a beautiful life, does wonderful things for society, but doesn't believe at all and is not one of the elect. And God decides they're not part of the elect and they're going to hell, according to your belief, right? That could happen?
Absolutely, because it's not because of
So
your works
why are
that
you
you are
defending that God? If I thought that God existed, if I actually believed that God existed, that would be one thing. I would never worship that God, and I would do everything I could to be to find the Avengers and go take him out. I would not be defending a God that would torture people that live decent lives and are just existing because they didn't even have a choice to be put here. I don't understand why you would side with a God like that.
It's because I don't think I have the moral grounds to judge God, because I believe that I am a sinner who, I think that he has like forgiven me. So who am I to say that, God is bad or God is doing this? It's his choice. Who am I to judge God in the end?
So on the other hand of Eve's argument, You've got a person like Ted Bundy. You know who he is? Was?
I don't know who he is.
Okay,
No.
he was a mass murderer. He abducted young women and tortured them and raped them and murdered them. And then he went to prison because he was caught. And then he was on death row. And then he was visited by a famous preacher who prayed with him to receive salvation. And he repented of his sins like you did and accepted Jesus as his savior. Do you think he became the elect because he did that? And because he became the elect, he goes to heaven even though he tortured and murdered women?
What I think is if he, yeah, actually, you're putting me on the spot here. But
Yeah,
you know,
called in.
Called.
I don't
That's
really
what we
know
do.
what.
You called in. We put you on the spot when you call in.
Okay, let me give you a direct answer. I would say yes,
Okay.
because you're saying that he had a conviction to believe the gospel in the end. So all his sins were like forgiven in the end, right?
And
That's
Eve,
what you're
the
saying.
person
So
Eve,
I would say that he
right? And
went
the
to
person
heaven.
Eve described, the
If
person
he,
Eve described, yes, the person Eve described who lived a really wonderful life and was kind and generous and compassionate, never hurt anyone, never killed anyone, never abducted and raped and murdered women, because he didn't believe in Jesus and wasn't one of the elect, he will spend eternity in hell. So you're okay with all of that?
because the thing that the reason why I'm okay with that is because I like to focus. Like me and Jimmy,
On the
we were
positive.
having like this. I'm sorry.
You like to focus on
Hello?
the positive, you told us. Yeah. The people that get God's good side.
On the positive side.
Right. Yeah. How
Yeah,
convenient.
because like
Yeah.
if he is extending mercy to certain people, why would I focus on the person who God has hardened their heart so that they don't
Well,
receive him?
what about
where
what
I
about the
could
people? What about the young women who got raped and murdered and didn't get to focus on the positive, and God didn't show them any favor? How about them? What happened? What about them? You're not concerned about them at all?
First of all, since I don't believe that there is a free will, I believe that everything that happens in the world is predetermined by God. So,
Why do you
even
believe
though,
all of this?
Why do I believe all of this?
Yes, why do you believe that this God even exists, nonetheless has forgiven you and chosen you? Why do you believe all of these things? What is the thing keeping you believing? Because these are awful things to believe. I'm trying to understand what's convinced you.
Well, I've had several experiences like throughout my life where I say
so have people that follow other gods.
Of course, like there's experiences in every religion.
So which God's real? Which God's the true God? Which God's the true God? If everyone you've got competing religious, you've got competing gods who claim exclusivity. The God of the Bible is different than the Hindu gods and the Muslim God and the Jewish God, and yet everyone has these experiences that they say validates their particular God. They can't all be right. So how do you know which one's true? Yours? Lucky you?
Well, I think, society has an impact on a person's religious choice. So you kind of like select the religion that is closest to you, right? So,
exactly.
There are.
How does that make it true?
How do you know you picked the right God?
Yeah.
What if you picked the wrong asshole God and now the other one's going to be pissed at you?
Oh, man, you're arguing my point. You're basically arguing the point that you called in to argue against. The more you talk about this God and that we don't have free will, and it just sucks to be one of the girls that got tortured and abducted. It's just too bad that they weren't one of the lucky ones that couldn't focus on the positive things that you like to focus on, because lucky you, that hasn't happened to you. And this God that you believe in is okay with all of that happening every single day. And yet you still want to call this God a good God. This just doesn't add up in any way. And yet you are convinced that this God that you happen to believe in and who has happened to elect you, lucky you once again, is the only true God, and on top of that is a good God. You're not making a very convincing argument here.
But why can't I say he is good if he is showing me, good things? You know what I'm saying? It's like, even though like
you can say he's
torture
good.
and famine and plague, and I'm sorry?
He's good to you, so he must be good. So if the people walking in front of my house,
that's my conclusion.
If I only harm every third person that walks past my house, and I take the other ones in the basement and torture them, then I'm good. I'm good because I was good to some of them. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Like let's say, Dave, you're giving me like this gift. You're giving me, let's say you're giving me you're being charitable towards me. Let's say this, Dave, you're also doing harm to other people. Wouldn't I just say that you are good because you are good to me? And wouldn't I say thank you? You have done good things to me. That's exactly my point. So
but that's okay.
When you are talking with this guy, you are saying that in Exodus, God was like killing the firstborn of everyone in Egypt. What you were doing was you were focusing on what happened on Egypt, while Israelites were being free of slavery. So why wouldn't Israel say that he is a good God, even though bad things are happening on Egypt? The Egyptians.
They did.
Wasn't it Ted Bundy that was like a good boyfriend or something, and like one of those serial killers? Yeah, he was like this cool, but he was murdering women. So unfortunately, that kind of discredits anything good about him. But how are you judging what God does that's good or bad? Because you just said yourself that we can't judge that. But are you admitting that some of the things God has done were not good?
I admit that there are like evil things that are present on like his creation. So I do I do recognize that there are scary things that.
How do you know what's evil and what isn't?
Yeah, how do you know what's bad and what's good? What's your judge there?
Like this, for example, like plague and famine and disease and all this stuff. I think it's really bad. But I do also think that the source is God, right? Even
it's not bad if it doesn't happen to you.
Created by God according to the Christian doctrine.
It's not bad if it doesn't happen to you. If someone else has a plague and a famine and an earthquake and it wipes them out, oh man, that's too bad. But you know what? It didn't happen to me, so God's good to me, and that's all that matters. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying. No, I'm not saying that I only focus on myself, because I don't think I'm the only elected person of God, right? There are a lot of people.
But you told me if I'm good to you, you told me if I'm good to you, then you're going to call me good. And if I'm bad to everyone else, you don't care. You don't care. So here's the problem I see, Emmanuel. You don't have empathy.
Okay.
And I can't give you empathy. I can't insert that into your heart. You don't seem to have it at all. And I feel sorry for you. I really do. Because empathy is simply caring about what happens to other people. And you're telling me and Eve in this whole conversation, you don't give a shit what happens to other people. As long as God is good to you and you're elect, you're okay with that. And I feel sorry for you. I really do. It's a sad way to live.
Yeah.
I hope you can gain some empathy somehow. Go spend time with people who suffer. Go spend time with people who were born in very unfortunate situations, and try to put yourself in their place.
Yeah, I have done that. Back in the time, I used to do volunteer work, so I have been with around other people. Even recently,
Why are you doing volunteer work for people that God might not care about?
Yeah, but I'm just doing what I'm commanded to do, because we have to do good things. We are commanded to do those things.
What happens if you don't? So you're elect. You've made it in. You've got
zero logic to this.
You've got your ticket punched. So what's going to happen if you don't do good things? Is God going to spank you? Why do you do anything?
No. I also have love for other people. I'm not selfish, only thinking about myself.
Do you only love the elect?
If I was the only, I'm sorry.
Do you only love the elect people?
No, I love everyone, elect or unelect.
So
I'm just saying that
if you love the unelect, if you love the unelect, you don't really care that when they die, they're going to go spend eternity in hell. It's just too bad they weren't elect.
I feel empathy towards those people because they didn't have any kind of free will to choose those sinful life.
That's a horrible,
they didn't change
theology.
Their mind.
You're contradicting yourself too. This isn't even consistent with the rest of the things that you've said tonight.
It makes no sense, and it's a horrible theology that you believe in a God who would just decide to create people doomed for destruction. And I know the Bible says it in Romans 9. I know what the Bible says, but it's a horrible concept. It's a horrible theology. And if I was a person that did anything remotely like that I would have 5 kids knowing that 2 of them were going to be doomed to destruction. But, oh, well, too bad. That's a horrible concept and a horrible theology and a horrible God. I stand by my original statement that you saw on some other show, because you've done nothing but reinforce the idea that this God of the Bible is horrible. Horrible. But I think we're going in circles. We've got other calls. And I do thank you for calling, Emmanuel. I hope you, have a good day, man.
Eve. Okay.
All right, buddy.
Have a good day, both of you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I guess
that was
Jimmy. I was trying to mute this one. Did we get him muted? Okay. I hope. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Jimmy,
What was the question about muting?
I thought I couldn't mute him now, but
gotcha.
Okay.
It just takes a second. I liked the implication there that he's calling these shows because he thinks that he is succeeding at convincing people to come to God. But
they're elect or not. Yeah.
Right. And so, which means that he, in his mind, the amount of effect he has on creating theists out of atheists is greater than the amount of effect he has at someone using a conversation with him to make a theist go, I don't know if I want to be on the same side as this fucker.
But either we're elect or not. So what does his conversation have to do with it?
Yeah, none of that was making sense.
It makes no sense.
My favorite Emmanuel moment was a conversation I was having with him a few months ago, where he says he doesn't believe in evolution. And at some point, I basically got him to, I basically talked about it being a fact. And he conceded. He goes, okay, yes, evolution is a fact, but the Bible disagrees. But the Bible disagrees, so I believe what the Bible says. He literally says, even though it's a fact, it's not true.
He's really just being an honest Christian, because a lot of them will try to run circles around these things, but he's at least saying what they all really are having to come to terms with in their head, which is completely opposing realities.
And actually, I have to amend what I just said. That's now my second favorite moment, Emmanuel moment. My first favorite Emmanuel moment that is now going to go down in the line history is Dave saying you don't have empathy. That was the greatest. And my third favorite is him saying, I think Matt Dillahunty is one of the elect, and that he'll most likely end up as a Christian again.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
That's
Man,
amazing.
I was hoping Matt was going to be in hell with us, but I guess he's got to go to heaven.
I
Right.
texted Matt as it was happening. He's on a romantic excursion tonight, but
Oh, my
I think he's
God.
going to be sad he missed it. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Well, let's go to JR, he, him in Arkansas, my home state. Hey, JR.
Hey, Dave, Eve, I want to say hi to you and thank you for being on the show this evening.
Thank you.
How you doing,
But
man?
I want to talk to Dave. I
Yeah.
want to talk to because Dave called me about a little over a year ago, right after I'd had part of my leg removed.
Oh, yeah, I remember
And-
that.
Yeah, you were in an airport and we were having trouble with our, phones. And I was living
Yeah.
with somebody else at the time. They were taking care of me.
Mhm.
And I've got a blood cancer, and it's killing me slowly, but it's doing it. And I was having
Yeah.
trouble with my family because I couldn't make them understand that I want to have fun. I want to enjoy the time I have left. I don't want to be, and I went septic a few months after you called. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's an infection that gets into your brain.
It's pretty serious,
And
yeah.
I actually died a few times, and they kept bringing me back. I don't remember any of it. There's like a week and a half that I don't remember anything. They said I was crazy, but I woke up trapped to the bed. If that tells you anything.
Yeah.
But it's taken me a while to get over that and get back, because it does bad things. Anytime your brain's infected, it does bad things to you.
Mhm.
But I want to thank you for your advice because I really tried to talk to my family and tell them, like you said, and they really didn't grasp it. But when I went septic and they thought I was going to die, actually going to die, they changed their thoughts.
Oh, wow.
And now have turned around and are not. They're still kind of coddly, but they're not as pushy about things. Let me have. I'm actually living by myself again. Thank goodness for. I've been living by myself for almost 6 months now, and that's a long thing for me. That's a big thing for me.
That's awesome.
To get back on my own. So I wanted to thank you for your call and your encouragement then. And I missed that website. Can you give me that website about, was it dying?
Yeah, I am dying
Out
out loud. Yeah, I am dyingoutloud.org. And I
Okay.
think it's going to be, they're going to post it in the show description and the chat. It'll be posted a couple places. They'll put a link up so you can find it pretty easily.
That'd be
But
good.
yeah, go on there and connect with us and send us get on. We're developing a mailing list and things like that. But yeah, well it'll have more tools. We're still building it, but to help you talk with your family about things like this. And that's, it's so important. I'm
It's
really,
hard.
really glad. I'm sorry?
It's really hard sometimes to talk to somebody that doesn't understand.
No, I know it.
They just don't understand how I feel. I know this is happening. I've come to terms with it.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
And I just want to have I want to enjoy as much time as I can.
Yeah. You want to carpe the fucking diem and have some moments. And I think oftentimes the people around us have more difficulty coming to terms with our death than we do. And a part of that is normal because the reality, JR, we're going to die and they're going to be left waiting. They're going to be left dealing with the loss of us. And that's oftentimes more difficult. I know my partner Bevin deals with that regularly in the fact that she's got to go on with her life after me. And your family and friends
I've lost my partner already, so.
Yeah, you still got people that care about you. And I remember seeing this clip with Stephen Colbert and Keanu Reeves, and I think somebody sent it to me. And Stephen Colbert was Keanu's kind of an interesting character, is from what I can tell. But Stephen Colbert was trying to kind of do a gotcha moment, and he asked Keanu Reeves. He said, "What do you think happens after we die?" The big question. And Keanu took it a different direction, which stunned everyone. He just paused a minute and he said, "I think the people that love us will miss us. That's what happens after we die." And man, did it. I mean, Colbert goes, "Oh," and everybody, applauded. But that's a great answer to that question, because that's probably the only thing we do know, is that the people that love us will miss us. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's normal for them to fight against the reality that we're dying. And they do make, bad choices and do things, say and do things that don't really help us, those of us who are facing it, because they just want to keep us alive. That's their motivation. And if we can understand that, we can have patience with them while we're asking them to have patience with us. And I'm glad that the people you talked to listened to you. It took you going septic, I guess, for them to listen, but they did realize that you want some quality of life, and please don't try to take that away from me.
Yeah. The reason I want to go on your page is I had all that paperwork, but somewhere it's got lost. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll help you with that.
Maybe I can get some more off your website.
We don't have it yet, but we'll have it soon. But reach out to us so we've got your contact info, and then as soon as we get those advanced directives and other documents made up, we'll make sure you have one. And you can even tell us, send us an email, tell us what kind of things you would like to have help with in talking with your family or friends, and we'll be glad to walk you through that.
Yeah, I just want to tell the people that are on the other side. I'll say on the outside, looking in. Listen to the people that are on the inside. Listen to the people that are facing this.
Yeah,
and but it's hard.
It is.
I went through it with my dad and my mom, and it's hard. And I understand it now, but it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to talk about.
It is, man. But you're doing it. You're doing it, brother.
And I am trying to live out loud. Live dying out loud. So that's the way to go.
I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate your books and all that. So I didn't get to buy them. I had to borrow them, but
well, that's fine.
I appreciate it.
You hang in there, man, and keep fighting the fight and living your best life as best you can. I know it's hard and getting harder, but I'm glad some things that we talked about before helped, and hopefully you can grab some more moments before things are done.
Yeah. And Dave, I hope you all the best, and I'm glad to see you on this show, and I think you'll help a lot of people. And like I said, I appreciate you being on Eve, and I'm sorry I really don't, I was wanting to talk to Dave.
No, this is a good conversation.
Yeah. It means a lot to hear from you. Yeah. Thank you for calling in. It really means a lot to hear back from you again. I'm glad you're doing okay and hanging in there, and in some ways doing better. I'm glad you get to live on your own.
It's been a rough year and a half, though. So it's been a long road, but I'm here. So
you beat death once or twice, so hang in there, man.
Yeah, I'm still kicking. I'm still going to go fishing. So
there you go.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Dave.
Good for you.
And appreciate you, Eve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Send you love, buddy. Good night.
No, that's an important reminder to the rest of us to listen and to know that we have no idea what it's like until we're dying and know it, as you say. We
Yeah.
all are, but we just don't know it.
I remember talking to him. Yeah, that's good to hear back from him. That's awesome. Wow. Man. Okay. All right. Let's go to TJ. He, him, and California Atheist. What do we have to look forward to? Ice cream. Let me see if I can get TJ on here. Hey, TJ, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. You're on with Eve and Dave. What can we do for you?
Cool. I want to say something real quick first. So I'm sorry to inform you, Eve, but you're not one of the elect because you're the one who gave Adam the apple. So, yeah.
Damn it.
I just wanted to
I knew that was going to bite me in the ass
She
someday.
was framed. She was framed. God damn it.
Also, youth pastor, worship leaders, they're the most tempted by Satan. So, yeah.
This is true.
Sorry.
Here I am, living proof. So,
Living the heathen life. Living the heathen life.
Anyway, the question I wanted to ask, was, with having chronic disease that is like pretty detrimental and whatever, it's like, I just heard you say, Dave, like you maybe have 2 years to live. And I know this is a pretty grim question, but it's like, at that point, like, what do you have to live for, really?
Well, I deal with this issue a lot. Part of the nonprofit that we're doing, the second part, the whole goal is to enhance the quality of anybody's life dealing with illness or facing death. And we have a secondary part to the nonprofit, which is a foundation, and it's to provide bucket list moments for people diagnosed with ALS. And that is all about enhancing the quality of whatever life we have left. And so when you say, what do we have to look forward to? I've talked about dying out loud for 4 years. And one of the things I've talked about a lot is the moments, making the most of the moments that we have, that life is in fact nothing more than a collection of moments. And when we're suffering from illness like you are, and I am, it can make that more challenging because just living life is difficult enough. But contained within that are moments. They're hidden and they're elusive sometimes, but they're there. And so an example of that for me, when we talk about providing bucket list moments for people with ALS, I've been the recipient of one of those. And I've talked about it before. There's pictures out there on it, but I went scuba diving. It was a thing I'd never done. I wanted to do, but this organization connected me with an adaptive scuba diving outfit in Hawaii, of all places, and they sent us out there. They paid for the whole thing, and I got to go scuba diving with the help of these people who helped me with the breathing and the pushing of the buttons and things like that I couldn't do. And we got down 60 feet in the Pacific Ocean, and after about 10 minutes, one of the crew brought me an octopus they had caught, a live octopus in the Pacific Ocean, and they handed it to me, and it wrapped itself around my arm and just looked at me. And we had moments for like 10 minutes where he would wrap around my arm, and I would pull him and hand him to Bevan, and we played with this octopus in the wild for 15 or 20 minutes, and it was just magical. And it affected me in such a way that it boosted my enthusiasm for continuing on and not giving up and not giving in, and just making sure that I'm grabbing everything that this life has to offer. That's hard when you've got
the diamonds in the rough.
What's that now?
The diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we all can do that. You don't have to have a chronic illness or a terminal illness to make yourself focus on those kind of moments and those kind of diamonds in the rough, as you say. But sometimes we get caught up in the mundane or the busyness, and we forget to look for them. And sometimes it takes something, to knock us off stride to get us to alter the way we're looking at things. So let me ask you I'll throw your question back to you. What do you have to look forward to? I mean, what gets you up in the morning?
I mean, I'm pretty young for first instance, so it's like, there could be a treatment that could, releases eventually in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I guess it's pretty much just waiting it out. I just like to say that I'm very, I'm a procrastinator, so I would rather not really try to do much until at least I can get a better situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes pretty long to do anything, but at least that's something.
Yeah. I mean, Eve, what do you look forward to? What gets you up in the morning? You don't deal with the illnesses that TJ and I are dealing with,
Right.
but what about you?
Yeah, I had to really rethink that because it used to be doing things for God got me out of bed in the morning, and my whole life revolved around that. And so I had that question of like, well, what's the point of even living now? Which it sounds ridiculous now, but at the time it was a big question. And for me, it's finally being able to, which this is in the context of having been somebody that was a believer and now I'm not, I can experience pleasure, and I don't even mean sexual pleasure. I mean the pleasure of everyday little moments, basically what Dave is talking about, these little simple things like a really good cup of coffee that morning, or my favorite song on the way to work comes on the radio, or whatever it is. Those little things, I now can shamelessly enjoy them and not have to attach any larger meaning other than the fact that in this exact moment, it's making me happy. And that is good enough. So for me, it's the little tiny things that get me up and get me excited. And it's certainly not the big things. A lot of the times those are the daunting things, but it's the little everyday things I have to look forward to.
Yeah. What do you think, TJ?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like one of those reflection questions. So it's like, you kind of know the answer, but like you need to kind of hear an affirmation, especially from somebody who's struggling with something similar. So I think you guys a lot for that.
Yeah, you're an atheist. Were you ever a believer of any kind?
Oh yeah, and that's why I know as much as I do.
Yeah.
So what was different then as opposed to now that you would call things you look forward to, like Eve was saying, things that get you up in the morning, things that you enjoy? What would you say was different then than is now?
That's a pretty interesting and I guess somewhat tough question, because I don't think I was looking forward to anything, because I was always scared of the rapture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
you weren't looking forward to the rapture?
So, like,
weren't you ready?
Yeah, I was not ready. I was like, no, it's going to be like the middle of my life. I'm going to have like the best moment possible. Or I'm going to be almost to the climax, right? And then I'm just going to get taken off, and it's just going to ruin everything. And it's just like, what's even the point?
Yeah, I figured he would come when I was masturbating or something, and obviously I'm out,
Let it be finished, damn it.
No, it is different. It's sad that as a Christian who's supposed to be living the best life possible, you weren't enjoying it because there was so much fear attached to it. I mean, my God, what does that say about the nature of the faith? Seriously. But I hope that you can find some moments. I'm sorry you're dealing with a chronic illness, and maybe something comes along. Like you said, they're always discovering medication. I mean, there's a possibility in my lifetime that something could be found for ALS. Anything like that's possible. So I just think we have to keep making the most of every day that we have, focusing on the now, doing the things that we think matter, doing the things that give us purpose and meaning. And like Eve said, now that we're on this side of Christianity and we don't have to answer to a God, a deity, a spiritual authority, or anyone else, when we look at what gives my life purpose, what gives my life meaning, well, the answer is simple: whatever I want it to. And that's the beauty of it. That's the freedom of it.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I very much agree with that statement. I wouldn't have agreed when I first came out, though. I was definitely very apathetic.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah. Well, I
That
hope you're.
deconversion process, man.
it
can be
hits hard
brutal.
sometimes.
How long has it been for you?
Oh man, my journey's been pretty screwed. So like, I stopped believing around when I was like 15, 16, and then like I had a relapse recently.
That's funny. Yeah, like a relapse, like you went back to the bottle.
Yeah, and I came back out of it, and I was just like, well, I mean, we kind of just did a loop-de-loop here. Like,
Yeah.
what
That's
goes
funny.
around comes around. I guess I came back.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got back
Now
out.
it's like, there's no chance that I'll ever come back again, though.
Yeah.
Like, no
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah. You're eternally sober. Yeah. Good for you.
That's like, no matter what experience or whatever I have, I'm just like, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point you reach, yeah.
I appreciate you. I'm really glad, you're doing better. You're free from indoctrination. I'm sorry about your illness, and hopefully something changes there. But I'm just hoping you can find all the moments that are there for you, because life is random and chaotic and short, but it's so beautiful, and there's so much here that we can grab if we're just looking for it. And it can be tough. I'm not minimizing anybody's situation. I know that some moments are harder to find and some lives are harder than others, but man, we can do better than we think a lot of times.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave.
You bet, buddy.
I also
Thanks
think
for calling in.
that you have a lot longer than you think you do. I'm optimistic about this.
Bevan hopes that that's true. I'm all about the quality. As long as I can still do the things, although they're getting harder, as long as I can still do things that are important to me, and even able to sit and talk on a show like this, then I'm willing to keep trucking along. It's when the quality is just not there that I'm not interested in going much further. But right now it's still there in a lot of ways, and in most of the ways. So I'm good. I'm ready to keep trucking.
That's very, very good, Dave. I'm glad about that.
Me too, brother. Thanks for calling in, TJ.
Thanks, TJ.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All
Take
the best
care.
to you, man. Bye-bye.
Good night.
That's good. I hope things get. Oops, I lost my thing here.
Yeah, sweet.
Sweet, good guy. Jimmy, I think we're ready to take some super chats. You ready for those?
I'm super ready. How do you all want to do this? Some people have me read them to them. Some people alternate. It's totally up to y'all.
We'll alternate. You put them on the screen and we'll take turns. How's that, Eve?
That sounds good. Don't make fun of me when I read something wrong.
I'm going to read more wrong than you, probably.
Okay, great.
Oh, 110. My goodness. Canadian bucks. Alleged Canadian bucks, as
That's
Matt
right.
would say. From Erica Lenz. Thank you, Erica. Wow.
Thank you.
What a way to start the show.
Wait, is Matt getting credit for my joke? Did you?
Well,
Is that your joke?
He told me that he told me he originated it, so you take that up with him.
Oh my God. I think you're just trying to cause shit now. But yeah, Canadian dollars are alleged and Australian are fake. That's how we do it here.
Okay,
Celebrating
got
the
it.
launch and all of you that made it happen. Man, I tell you what, Jimmy behind the scenes is a rock star. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Erica. That's very kind of you.
Also, thank you back. It's a nice thing to say.
$10 from James Call. Congratulations, Dave. You are so brave. It's true.
Thank you, James.
Sorry, this is where I often am more of a little stinker and jump in during the show. Dave, I'm curious. Do you feel brave?
No.
I was going to say, it seems like one of those things people say to people in a situation like yours, and a lot of people are like, what's the alternative choice?
Well, that's the way I look at it. I mean, I do know, I've gotten to know a lot of ALS people in this community, and there are some, I will admit, that kind of get the diagnosis and kind of crawl up in a ball and wait to die, and they just kind of give up.
Sure.
And I guess what folks are saying, and I do appreciate the sentiment, I understand it, is that I didn't do that. Is that I just kind of pushed back a little bit and decided to take the ball that was handed me and run with it and deal, the cards that I was dealt and all the analogies, and make something positive out of it as best I could.
Yeah.
And talk about it out loud. So I get what they're coming from, but I would never use the term brave for myself.
But
I wish we had a different word. Because I'll be fast. I wish we had a different word, because I bet you what James is trying to say is probably the same thing that I would want to say, which is one word for like, I hope that if I was in your position, I would have done what you did. I would do something like you're doing, and that I wouldn't ball up, because I suspect I might ball up in your position. We need one word for that. But anyway.
That's the thing that people always say. I could never do what you're doing. I would never reacted that way. And I push back, because you don't know that. You do not know until you're facing it what you would do. And I suspect more people would do like I'm doing than they think they would.
I think I'd become a petty asshole. I think I would. Yeah. I'd host a live stream called "Here Are the People I Think Who Would Deserve This More Than Me." That's the name of the stream.
Oh my god!
And I just started listing off people that I think deserve to die more than I do.
Oh, John, you're awful.
That's amazing.
I don't think you would.
I was just going to say, I think also what makes you brave is not necessarily just how you're handling your diagnosis, but to me, when I think of you and I think, oh yeah, Dave is so brave, it's how loud you are about everything. That's the part of me I want to be like you when I grow up. You were an evangelical pastor, and then you were brave enough to not only tell people that you're not anymore and that you're an atheist, but to say I was really wrong, and now I'm going to switch everything around and unapologetically live my life according to my new beliefs or lack thereof, even so far as when I get diagnosed with a terminal illness to follow through on my position. So I think that's why you're brave to me.
Well, you're as loud about your deconstruction as I am, even louder to more people. And I don't think you would do any differently than me, Eve. I just know you. I just know how you're made. And you would say, oh, well, shit, this sucks. But you would say, well, it doesn't change what I think about how the world works. So let's just talk about it, So that's why we call it dying out loud.
So I have
I'd try to go hold an octopus for all the time I had left, I think.
That story resonated so much with me, because whenever people ask me what my happiest memory is, I always talk about the night that I met a porcupine and it let me just hang out and take pictures of it for like 2 hours. It was like 3 a.m. I come across this porcupine in my neighborhood. It's eating crab apples, and I just hung out with it and took pictures of it for 2 hours. The best moment of my life.
You didn't cuddle with it, did you? No. Okay.
No, I got it to come, like the closest I got was I could put a crab apple like 4 inches in front of it, and it wouldn't flip around. It would like wait, and then it would come and get the crab apple.
That's pretty cool.
You guys had a real bond happening.
I know we should move on, but I have one more question inspired by this conversation then, because this is one for me. Everyone knows I'm very uncomfortable with compliments at large. That's where the go fuck yourself Jimmy thing comes from. However, there are some very specific ones that mean a lot to me. And one that I've adopted recently is like, the only thing that I want anyone, if someone's going to compliment me, there's no bigger compliment than someone just referring to me as like that motherfucker. Like Jimmy Snow is that motherfucker. You need to get something done. Jimmy's that motherfucker. You need you want to know what the production is, how to do this right. He's that motherfucker. This sort of sentiment came up as we were talking about our fundraiser and stuff recently. And I was like, yes, give it all to me. So my question back to you would be, brave, I bet, is an uncomfortable thing to be told you are, but what is a compliment? If there's something that does mean a lot to you when somebody notices or expresses, do you have something off the top of your head like that?
Authentic.
You're authentic.
I think that's the best compliment anyone can give anyone. Just genuine and authentic, because I really want to be that guy.
Yeah. Do you want to be that other motherfucker?
Yeah. No, I'll leave that one to you. I'm going to change your name in my phone and put that motherfucker in my
I know. I was about to say, I'm definitely changing your contact now to that motherfucker.
Thank you. That's all I've ever wanted, is to be that motherfucker.
Oh my goodness. Another allegedly, some more alleged dollars. $50 allegedly from Kathleen Moncrief. Best show ever. I already know it is. I agree. Best show ever. Already at the top of the line. Thank you, Kathleen. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. You're now in competition with the Transatlantic Call-In show for what I think is the best show we do. Both of these are good because I'm not on either of them. But I was just expressing this to somebody too, one of the mods, how, first of all, let me turn the motion back on. There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. I was expressing to the mods that I actually feel a level of both pride and, not shame, but pride and guilt, because we're starting the show that already this first one's gone so well and it's so great. And I think people are going to become very attached to you. And we've basically committed a community of people to all have the worst day of their year in a few years. It's it's sort of a rough thing to introduce someone you're going to love this guy. And at some point you need to start preparing now, because he is going to pass away at some point. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. So anyway, it's fucked up. What a fucked up thing. Yeah, I know. I made myself sad.
That's what this is about. That's why we talk about it, but it's tough. It's tough to think about that side of it.
Anyway, here's the next. I'll try to not interject on every single one anymore.
On that really happy note, thanks, Jimmy. Let me get it together.
Yeah, follow that.
Thanks. 1999 real dollars from Greg Markowski. I can't think of a more intelligent and perfect guest for your first show than Eve Was Framed. Hello to my brother if he's watching. So sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Greggy. Appreciate you, man.
So kind. And yes, hello to your brother. And if he's not watching now, he can rewatch this later. Send it to him.
Okay, 1999 more dollars from Greg Markowski. He's so generous. I love that guy.
Aww.
How do you deal with your reliance on a loved one? That would be what bothered me the most, knowing I was a burden. Oh, yeah, that's some real shit. I mean, Bevan and I deal with that regularly. And it's tough, because I was an independent person from the time I was 17 years old, and to require more and more care. And it's going to even take more than just Bevan in the months and years to come. We're going to need people even helping us more than that, and modifying the house and getting wheelchairs and just having her and others do everything for me is it's hard. But again, it's a life now of adaptation and adjustment, and it just has to happen. The only other alternative is to quit trying to do things. The reality is, if I didn't do anything but lay in bed all day and watch TV, I wouldn't need much of anything. But because I'm trying to do things and go places and go to conferences and speak, and I need help hooking everything up here to get ready for a show, the more I try to do, the more help I need. So it's a catch-22, but I really wouldn't have it any other way. And Bevan wouldn't either, because she knows how important this stuff is to me, and she knows how much energy it gives me to be doing the things that matter to me, and us being able to do things together is important. So it just requires a lot, and we have to adjust my expectations of what we can do and what we can't do, how long it's going to take us, and all those kind of things. Eve, you've been around me, and when we're in groups, we ask other people to help. I've got no qualms now about asking someone, "Hey, can you help me with this glass?" or "Can you help feed me this meal?" And people, what I've also found is people are anxious to help, and it's Bevan is it's more of an everyday thing that she really doesn't have much choice. She's stuck with me. But people who care about me feel so helpless in the face of this disease, and they are.
Yep.
And when they get to do a little thing for me or for Bevan and me, it makes you feel like, oh, I got to do something, and I didn't know what I could do, but I got to do that.
Yeah,
right?
Some of my favorite memories with you are sitting on a beach helping you drink an old fashioned, like, because you're stuck with me, so you have to talk to me because I'm the one with your alcohol. So
or helping me light my cigar.
Exactly. Yeah. It lets me feel like I'm part of the community around you, and I think that's a big part of it, is finding people that are there for you.
It's huge. Yeah. This is yours.
Oh, all right. $10 from I Got Cookies. Congrats on the new show. I'm excited to see you have your own call-in show again. And I don't know what all of this means because I'm an elder millennial. Jimmy, what does this mean?
No, so this was an attempt to use one of our channel member emojis, but the emojis
so I'm not supposed to know.
Cool. there's now a special emoji for when people say "Go fuck yourself, Jimmy" if they're a member, but it doesn't translate into the system that does this.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
The best thing you can say to Jimmy that he appreciates the most is "Go fuck yourself, Jimmy."
Yeah.
That's GFYJ.
Yeah, and then if we start adding like TMF at the end of it, "Go fuck yourself, Jimmy" - that motherfucker, like that'd be perfect.
Woo,
that'd
there
be the best. Yeah.
$10 from Robin Webster. Hey, Robin. Dave, so glad you have joined the line. This channel is getting better every day. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
Yeah. I like that.
Thank you,
people have picked up already, like they don't even bother saying Jimmy anymore. They just write GFYJ a lot of the time. And no one has had to take a moment to figure it out and be like, yeah, we know what this is.
Is this Australian dollars? What do we call those?
Fake.
10 fake dollars from Deep Drinks. Thank you, Dave and Eve. This is such an important show. A question for both. What are you most thankful for? Oh, that's a good question. Dave.
You go first.
Oh, great. That's a big question. I'm most thankful for my freedom to believe what I want and don't want to. That's something that can't be taken away from me. And now that I don't believe anymore, I recognize how valuable that freedom is. So, and that affects every other. That's why I'm friends with Dave. That's why I'm here right now. That's why I have the beautiful people in my life that I do. It's because I have freedom. So
it's great. Yeah, I'd say that for me, it's the remaining days I have and the moments contained therein, and then the friends / community around me that make life rich and deep. We've got a friend here now, Sheila, from Bevan had to have some hip surgery from a running injury. So that puts us both down in a sense, needing help. And she's not able to do the things normally that she would do to take care of me. So we have a friend from Pennsylvania that came in last week, and then she leaves tomorrow. And tomorrow we have a friend from Tennessee, another one from Minnesota coming in to relieve her. And then they stay about a week. Then we have another friend from Tennessee and a friend from California relieving them. And then we have a friend from Florida and I think another friend from Tennessee coming in to relieve them. It's just like, who are these people? And how are they that generous and that caring to take the time and expense to come and do this? And it's just that richness of community and friendship that I find priceless, and I'm most thankful for.
That's beautiful.
1999 from,
yours.
I can't remember who did the last one.
You do it. You got it.
1999 from Dr. Will Judy. What a wonderful friend. We've had many good cigars together. I love supporting a wonderful cause and amazing humans. Big, big hugs from Texas. He's also on our board, as is Greg Markowski, who super chatted earlier. We got an amazing board. We just had our first board meeting last night. Awesome. Thank you, Will.
If the board ever has an open position for that motherfucker. No, I'm kidding.
We don't have one yet.
Not yet.
$13.99 from Pat McDonald. Dave, are you still planning on releasing another book? I'm first in the line to get my hands on it. Your example of dying out loud has been transformational for me. And hey, Eve, you rock. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Pat.
another book, Dave?
Yes. I am working on, I love that I'm first in the line. Do y'all get that? Very clever, those Canadians. Yes, Pat, I'm working on a book actually called Dying Out Loud, with the subtitle being What Dying Taught Me About Living. And it's really about the things I've been talking about and learning over the past 4 years, the people I've met, the conversations I've had, the messages I've received. It's in the process. I hope to have it out by the end of this year. And yeah, I appreciate you. You'll get one, I hope.
This one's yours, I think.
Oh, I keep losing track. $10 from Arch Radish. I can't stay to watch the whole live, but love Dave and Eve. Carpe the fucking diem. Amen.
That's my friend.
Thank you, Arch. Oh, yeah,
Love
yeah.
you, Chad.
Thanks, Arch.
$5.50 from Shannon Q. I guess we're letting Shannon get away with the under 10.
Yeah.
Under 10
Hosts
thing.
don't have rules.
Yeah,
She's
I saw
special.
that happen in the chat. I mean, Dave is okay or whatever, but I love Eve. I love you. I'm like fangirling because I was listening to Shannon Q on YouTube years ago thinking like, I might be an atheist.
Have the two of you ever collabed?
No.
Oh my God.
The most interaction I think maybe we've tweeted or something, but I
smell a future
I'm definitely
episode of
Shannon Q.
Skeptalk.
Oh,
needs to happen.
I would die.
Yeah, no.
Well, don't
Shannon,
die.
you know you love me. Shannon, you know you love me. I'm your favorite person, Shannon. You just admit it to the world. You've admitted it to me privately. So let's let the rest of the world
Wait,
know.
she
that I'm
admitted
your
it to
favorite.
me
I don't know.
privately.
She just paid money to say that I am you guys. So
I think there might be a conspiracy. Is it possible she's admitted that to all of us privately?
Could be. Those Canadians, you know how they
no,
are.
she's never said it to me privately. Only publicly
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
here
She's
now,
never said it to me privately either. If anything, I think I know that she's my friend because of all the things she clearly resists saying to me privately. Then that's love. Anyway. This is pronounced Amargen, and Amargen, by the way, was our call screener today.
Oh, thank you for call screening.
$50 from Margan. Thank you. Hi, Dave. Awesome to see you here. And Eve, love your content. Here's some money to inaugurate the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. $10 from Polygon Fiction. Thank you for doing this show. I would love to call in eventually once I can clearly articulate my thoughts. I have so much in common with Eve as far as my religious upbringing and eventual apostasy. Yeah, definitely call back. Even if I'm not on here, call and talk about it. Dave's a great person to talk to about all of this.
$15 from 3 a.m. Ryan. 3 a.m. Ryan? I don't know. 3 a.m. Ryan. I am even Dave. Hearts. Thank you for getting us going, Amargan. Thanks, buddy.
Hearts back. 1666, nice, from Exhumus. I can't imagine a worse hell than eternity surrounded by people like Emmanuel. If I've been elected and I didn't know about it, I officially resign. That's how I felt after that call. That was a great example of why I am happy to not be one of those.
The problem is, if you're elected, you don't get a choice. You're going to get drugged to heaven by your heels. So
nothing he was saying made any sense.
No. $9.99 from Brian L. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you.
Thank you. $20 from L. I don't know how to say this. Are we pronouncing the J? L. Jason. Love Dave. Love Eve. Love the show. Jimmy's okay too.
What he meant to say was, "Go fuck yourself, Jimmy." I'll just go and
Right.
translate.
I was say I don't appreciate this pro Jimmy propaganda.
I know. He lost control there. $11 euro from Lord Joris. When you thought the line couldn't get any better, Jimmy adds another good show. Thank you, Dave and Eve. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
I'd like to encourage you to help us annoy an entire continent by continuing to call it dollars euro. Please keep doing that forever.
It came out before I realized I'd done it. So here's what happened.
Never let it go.
I heard the dollar coming out, and I thought, let me just tack the euro onto it. That fixed it, right?
I'm going to try to remember to start saying dollars euro in future shows.
That fixed it. Yeah. Oh my God.
$20 from Tristan J. Great show. Dave, you kick ass. Jimmy, you're okay.
Jimmy, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Okay's fine, but I mean, okay's barely a compliment, so I'm actually a little bit more comfortable.
Okay. Thank you, Tristan J. $20 from Larry Fishman. Dave, wow, this is amazing. This octopus is so friendly and intelligent. Octopus, the children of the sea shall rise and overthrow the primate despoilers. Octopus world domination. that may have been what was happening.
It's a good caption.
I thought we were having a great intimate moment. We were going to be Facebook friends forever. But perhaps this was what was actually being said in that octopus brain.
How big of an octopus was this?
It was a little guy.
Oh, the head.
Like the size of
the head. You know, you can see the pictures on my everywhere because I put them everywhere. But the head's about the size of a. Oh, I'm getting it wrong. That would fit in the palms of your hand if you closed them around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say it's about the size of a fist.
Like a tennis ball?
Yeah. No, bigger than that. Yeah,
not that
bigger
big. Oh, really?
Grapefruit.
Bigger than a tennis ball. Yeah, grapefruitish, maybe. Yeah, bigger than I thought. I mean, it was. Yeah, you can see the scale if you look at the pictures.
Sure. Though, of course, I haven't met you in person yet, so I don't know the scale of your hand and arm. Yeah. Who knows?
Well, they're getting smaller. I keep forgetting whose turn it is.
$9.99 from I'll go. $9.99 from Nickel Us. Amazing addition to the line. Cheers to you, Dave. Thanks for being a guest, Eve, and thanks to that motherfucker Jimmy for making it happen.
Word.
Yes, Nicholas.
That was our last one.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. That was amazing.
Wow, we finished right on the hour. That was pretty good timing. Man, I want to thank the mods and the call screener, and man, what a fun show. Thank you, Eve, for being our first guest host.
Thanks for having me on your first one. This is so exciting.
Well, what do you got coming up? What's going on with you?
I have a few things, but
all that stuff.
Yeah, so I have TikTok, which is primarily where people follow me, and it's Eve_was-framed. Instagram is the same, Eve_was-framed. And that's where you can keep up with. I have a few speaking engagements this summer and different podcast interviews coming out. So you can come over there. And I have really cool community over there. So if any of this hit home with you, you might make some friends over on one of my social media sites.
Yeah, you'll want to follow Eve if you haven't already. She's got incredible content. She makes great arguments for skepticism and exposes the fallacies of Christianity in such a great way, and just has a lot of good stuff going on. And you're speaking at a thing in Nashville coming up. When is that? Is that thing that
June?
Go to?
It is June 9th and 10th. It's called Awaken, and it's a conference. There's actually going to be Christians speaking, mystics, all kinds of people. And I'm just really excited to be there representing atheists. And I'm allowed to talk about whatever I want. And the details for that are on a link under my Instagram bio. So check it out.
Good. Yeah, I was hoping I don't know, we get to Nashville a lot because I'm from there. And maybe we'll be there and can come see you and root you on.
That would be so fun. I would love it.
So remember, folks, the Patreon here is patreon.com /call the line. So if you're not already a supporter of this great channel, several chats mentioned it, but this is really, really an incredible lineup of shows that Jimmy's putting together, and not just because we're on it now, but it just is really, really good content, and it keeps growing and keeps getting better. So if you can support, throw a few dollars his way, and you're going to see as we close the show some of the top patrons. So thanks, Eve, again for being here. Thanks, Jimmy,
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Armagon for call in, and everybody who helps in the background. It's been fun. Can't wait to do it again next week.
Did you call him Armagon? What did you call him? Armagon?
Armageddon.
I loved it.
It's
Amargan.
It's dollars euro. That's all you need to remember.
That's right.
Amazing.
You good? Is that good night?
That's good night, everybody.